Hey guys, welcome back. So Charlie Kirk and Oklahoma students are in this particular debate. Oh my goodness, a lot of things were said, shocking things. You guys gotta check this out. I can't see this alone.
Everybody give it up, the national championship.
How you guys doing? Wow, I've been saying it for the past 7-8 months. Stillwater is a special place, and you guys proved that today. You guys are awesome.
One of the greatest upsets in the history of wrestling. They didn't even do the odds for what Wyatt did at the national championship and made Oklahoma State proud in so many different ways. And so, Wyatt, God bless you, man. America is back, and God bless you, Wyatt. Thank you, man. Thank you. All right, everybody, you guys know the rules. I'm going to sit here, take questions for a little bit. If you disagree, you go to the front of the line. And it's not too windy. I've never had it where I throw the hats and it comes back at me. I thought you guys were throwing the hats back at me, but it's Oklahoma State. You wouldn't do that. But and by the way, this is a much bigger crowd than I would have got at OU. I have to say, much bigger crowd. Not allowed to say that, but whatever. All right, everybody, let's get started. You guys know the rules. Thank you. Okay. Hello.
Before I begin, Charlie, might I say it's an honor to meet you. After hearing about you for maybe 5 years growing up and hearing all the negativity about you, I'm like, it's an honor to be here to get to meet you because I've always been a believer in listening to what other people have to say. And I just want to ask you a question. Do you like the new name for the body of water that was formerly called the Gulf of Mexico?
The Gulf of America.
All right. Do you also agree with the renaming of the mountain in Alaska that is known as either Mount McKinley or Denali? Do you agree of Donald Trump's renaming I should say President Trump's renaming of that back to Mount McKinley?
I'm generally sympathetic. I can see where you're probably going with this line of questioning, and we'll see how astute you are.
No, I'm just curious to see what your opinion is.
No, that's fine. There's
no,
it's okay. There's a third question you could ask that would be pretty smart, but go ahead.
It's a name. A name's a name. I'm planning on becoming a teacher, so...
No, it's fine. Maybe you're not going there. That's fine.
Yeah. If it says Gulf of America, I'll play Gulf of America, Gulf of Mexico, just
Yep.
the Gulf, whatever it is. It's a name's a name. I'm sure you here in Oklahoma probably still call what is now today Hurricane Harbor. I'm sure some of y'all still call it Whitewater Bay. So, a name's a name. I was just curious about that. Your opinion on that. It's a pleasure to meet you, Charlie, and
thank
I'm
you.
glad that I could come out to meet you.
Thank you. Let me just say one thing. A name is a name, but name should reflect meaning. And so if a name fails to reflect meaning, then that name should be either reconsidered or brought back to the root. Many of our ancestors, their last name would actually be either their profession or the tribe that they were part of. For example,
Yes,
Abraham.
That's my last name. My last name translates to free person in Czech.
Oh, well, very good. So Abraham means father of nations. Moses, for example, means out of the water or redeemer. Jacob means by the heel because he was born literally by the heel or usurper. Isaac means laugh because Sarah laughed at the idea of having him. So names actually used to really mean something, and I love this idea of bringing naming back to meaning. It's not just semantics. Semantics literally means meaning in its original Greek. Thank you very much.
I appreciate
Thoughtful
it, Charlie.
question.
Congrats,
Thank you.
Wyatt.
That was a great question. Yeah.
Hi, Charlie. Is it okay if I record this for myself? Okay.
Of course you can. Yeah.
So, my name is Jacob Norwood. I'm a junior in high school, and I have a lot of friends who are born from illegal immigrants. And I was wondering if you agreed with the abolishment of the 14th Amendment, which allows birthright citizenship.
Yes, I do. I don't think it's going to hold up, but I do believe that the 14th Amendment was not intended for anchor babies. Correct.
Well, I thought it was intended because people who would be brought over here during slavery, and then their children would then have birthright citizenship, and that was kind of the point.
Slaves were granted citizenship, though.
They were granted citizenship after they were brought here forcibly, and then...
Yeah, but then the kids of citizens are kids, though.
Are
citizens.
What is the difference in immigrants 100 years ago coming here and having children here to immigrants coming here illegally now.
Well, slaves are a completely different moral category than someone who breaks into your country, right?
Okay, what about Chinese immigrants 100 years ago coming here illegally
I think it should have been wrong then, and it's wrong now, for sure, both.
But then why would people agree
It's been
with
tried.
it?
I mean, we've tried to get rid of this for quite some
Why
time.
agree with it then, though? Like, what's changed?
What do you mean, why agree with it? What do you mean
What's
by that?
changed now?
Well, we're revisiting the actual text of the 14th Amendment. I mean, and nothing's necessarily changed except we think the interpretation has been wrong because it says all persons. It's not clear whether or not that means children of U.S. citizens or if it means a foreigner that just gets on a plane who's pregnant and their kid magically gets a U.S. birth certificate. We are one of the only countries in the industrialized world that has birthright citizenship, one of the few. And so, for example, there are tens of thousands of babies born every single year in America of women from China or from Vietnam that get pregnant in Vietnam and China. At about 7 months, they get on a plane, they land and have their baby in America, and that baby gets a U.S. citizenship. I think that's insane. I think it's crazy that you can get on a plane, be pregnant from another country and be a citizen from another country, come here, and then your kid all of a sudden becomes a U.S. citizen. It first of all, cuts in line and dilutes the meaning of U.S. citizenship.
I still don't agree with you, but I know there's not a way I can change your mind.
It's all good. Thank you.
I did actually, I have one more question my dad wanted me to ask you. He said, would you still be a white supremacist if you were in a more diverse work field?
So do you think I'm a white supremacist?
I have no idea if you're a white supremacist. My dad has watched a lot of you. He said if you weren't out here preaching hate and working on your three-pointers, do you think you would probably be better at that?
I'm not even to justify. You should be ashamed of your father.
I'm definitely not. My father's an amazing man.
Yeah.
He cares about American citizens.
Your father
and all
peddles
of their rights.
lies. I'm not a white supremacist. Honestly, shame on him. For someone that runs an organization called Blexit, do you even know what Blexit is?
I do not.
It's literally, we employ 40 black Americans that work in Atlanta, Chicago, and Philadelphia trying to improve the well-being of inner-city black America. What has your father ever done for inner-city black America other than call me a white supremacist? And by the way, secondly, it's just so ridiculous. It's like it's
black
somehow
people for your companies or whatever you do does not make you a white supremacist.
What is a white supremacist?
A white supremacist is somebody who takes advantage and believes that they are higher than everybody else.
Do I believe that?
I have no idea.
Okay, exactly. And so there's no evidence whatsoever, and yet people go around sloppily saying, you're a racist, you're a white supremacist. It is so destructive to our dialogue. It's destructive to us coming together as a country, and there's nothing to support it whatsoever. So thank you for your time, and shame on your...
First off, I just want to say thank you so much for coming to our city today. It means a lot from, I know, a lot of my peers, but also me as well. I kind of don't have a question for you, more of words of advice. As someone who's fixing to graduate college, I've been studying political journalism. It's been, ever since I was a little girl, that's been my main goal, is to become a political journalism. I just scored an internship, actually, to start off with, shadowing political journalists and everything. And I was super excited for it. I thought it was going to be my start to my journey of success. When I have come to find out majority of my peers and mentors or people I even looked up to in the office that I work at in the news station, they have told me since I am a Republican Christian young woman that I probably won't succeed. And as someone who I've spent my whole life researching, dedicating my life to studying this, it's been very hard for me to continue to want to go into this field when I keep getting put down by the people that I look up to for, one, my gender, and then two, even my Republican Party for my morals. So I kind of just wanted to ask you, like, I know you see so much and you read so much about yourself, like, what keeps you to keep going and gave you that motivation to keep speaking your truth with your morals?
Yeah, it's a great question. First of all, you will succeed in journalism if you just outwork the other people. Secondly, there's a lot of these journalists, they're not going to have jobs in 5 to 10 years. I mean, media is changing in real time. My advice to you is, first and foremost, there's a ton of communication directors' jobs for senators and congressmen. Mm-hmm. There's local news stations and more conservative ownership. You'll figure that out.
Yeah.
You have to silence and mute the noise and know what you are good at and follow your skill, regardless what people are saying, and then say yes to every single opportunity. If you outwork everybody as an intern, that will be noticed. That will then be rewarded, regardless of your political affiliation. And honestly, all that opposition should only make you want to fight harder, will make you stronger, and will make you a better person in your career in the future. So God bless you.
Thank you so much, Charlie. It means
Appreciate
a
it.
lot.
Thank you.
Hi, I am a Republican student at the University of Central Oklahoma. I have a liberal family, and it's not always easy, but I was going to ask you about immigration. So I know that we don't have an obligation to help Mexico, but is there incentives to help Mexico to make America better? And if so, what policies that we can support that would help that?
Yeah, that's a good question. The first way that we could help Mexico is probably the most controversial, which is to eliminate the drug cartels. And that is very controversial because that would take military action. And President Trump has played around with this idea. I have no idea what he's going to do. Mexico is basically controlled by 9 families. And most importantly, the Sinaloa drug cartel, which you guys might think that that's a foreign, distant problem. Almost everybody in this audience has probably lost a friend to fentanyl or somebody that deals with hard drug use. Almost all of that is produced by the Sinaloa drug cartel and is trafficked right up into communities in Oklahoma all across the state. So the best way we could help Mexico is not through giving them money or just cash. We've given them hundreds of billions of dollars over the last 30 years. The best thing I think we could do is targeted military strikes against the Sinaloa drug cartel and liberate them from their current captivity. Secondly, though, they're actively hurting our country. And that's the first question we got from the guy is, what do you mean you're being invaded? We are in an active, hostile, combatant conflict with the Sinaloa drug cartel. What do you call it when 100,000 of your own people die of drug overdosing, of foreign-made drugs that are being purposefully pumped into your communities? That's a poisoning of the country. And yes, everyone has agency and they make decisions, but they make it, first and foremost, a lot of people overdose now on drugs thinking they're taking a much lower level recreational drug that is laced with fentanyl. Now, you shouldn't do any drugs, guys, obviously, but unfortunately, we are seeing the intentional destruction, especially of working age young men in this country. The drug epidemic disproportionately is taking out young men in this country. And so that's what I think we should do to try to help Mexico.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. We'll take a couple more. Any disagreements can come up.
We're for gun rights, and I'm totally against guns. But I understand the reason why some people need guns, and we can both agree that the wrong people get guns in their hands. But in some states, you don't need a background check for some guns. My question is, what law do you think should be passed to prevent the wrong people from getting guns?
It's a good question. Let me ask you where you're coming from. Do you believe owning a gun is a right or a privilege?
I think it's a privilege.
Okay, so I think it's a right, and that's okay. Let me tell you why. I believe the right for a free people to be able to defend their family from foes, be able to defend their family from government potentially coming after them, is a right given to them by our Creator. It's not given by government. You do not have a free society if you can't have an armed society. That's just definitionally true. So, but let me ask you a question as far as the laws, just so we can, think more clearly about this. You say you're against guns. Why does it make sense then that we guard our sports stadiums and our banks and our airports with guns? Are you against guns as a technology, or are you against the people that use guns for evil?
The people that use guns for evil.
Right. So maybe it's much more of a brokenness of humanity problem or a sin problem, not the actual tool itself.
My question was, what are the laws you
Yeah,
pass?
so the laws, we already have federal laws on the books. We do have, federal background checks that are not always enforced. But honestly, I think we should have less gun laws, not more. I know people disagree with this, but I'd love to get your response because it's a right. People should be able to protect themselves as they see fit. In states that generally have more guns, not less guns, like Houston, yes, you do have some more gun deaths amongst inner city gangs, but violent crime tends to go down. And so I don't want to disarm peaceful, law-abiding people just because some people abuse that tool or that technology. And so when you look at gun deaths in this country, there are 30,000 gun deaths a year. 2/3 of them are death by suicide. Okay, so that number shouldn't even been in there. The vast majority of the gun deaths that are related, that are the ones in the remainder, are individuals in gangs and inner cities that use guns in kind of gang violence. So really quickly, what is your issue with guns in America?
I think it's pretty easy for anyone to get a gun, and that's kind of a problem.
Okay. We just disagree. I think that you should be able to own a firearm and protect yourself. The minute that the government over-involves itself in the selection process of who can own guns and who can own firearms, we start to run into major issues. We will cease to be a free people if we are not an armed citizenry.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, Mr. Kirk. Nice to meet you. My name is Jaron. I'm a mechanical engineering student, so I'm not an expert by any means on politics or anything related to politics. But I disagree with some of Trump's actions, and I wanted to know sort of your opinion because I haven't heard you voice it. Okay. Trump barred AP News from the White House because of their disagreement about the Gulf of Mexico and the Gulf of America. And I feel like that's a violation of the freedom of press, and I just wanted to know what your opinion on that was.
Yeah, sure. I mean, first of all, he didn't bar them from publishing.
Mm-hmm.
He simply, being in the White House press corps is a privilege, not a right.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, not every blog or publication gets to be in the White House press corps. I want to be in the White House press corps, and I got to call the president and try to get that done, right?
Yeah.
So it's a privilege. The White House has every right to be able to say, hey, you're not acting in a certain way, or you are not reporting things that are factually or accurate, then you're not allowed in. That was a bubbling up problem with the AP. It was like 10 different instances, and it just kind of hit a crescendo point. But it's not violation of freedom of the press in the sense where they weren't like, hey, you're not allowed to publish articles that say Gulf of Mexico.
Right.
Think of it this way. Think of if you're having an event like this, and some guy with a bullhorn shows up and starts heckling you, right? And, hey, we spent money for the gates and security and for all this. Do we have a right to kindly say, hey, let us do our event? Of course we do.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't disagree that it's perfectly legal to do that. I think it's, I don't know. I really like a lot of what AP News does, even if I disagree with articles from every news source, right? I tend to be more moderate, right? So I disagree with CNN. I disagree with Fox News, right? It just depends.
Hey, Charlie. What's up? Can you hear it? All right. Hi, Charlie. My name is Tum Patel. I am a junior here at Oklahoma State. I bleed orange, family, always. So I do finance, and this was the first election, the election we just had, 77 million votes, baby. Let's go. You should clap for that, probably. Okay, so this election was the first election that I've got to vote in, and I was proud of who I voted for, and I don't think I have to say who I did, because I think it's pretty obvious. But I think America has a kind of, existential problem going on. Can we be considered a democracy or a constitutional republic if we only have two parties to vote for, really?
Yes, I think the existential crisis is different, though. I think that the bigger issue is whether or not we could be I think we're a republic, not a democracy. That's a separate issue. If a unelected group of judges can stop a president with a nationwide injunction from doing what he told the voters he would do, that's a major, major problem. That is the local nationwide injunction issue is the greatest existential crisis. So the question of more parties is always brought up. We have libertarian parties, we have independent parties, but if the Democrats won't splinter themselves, why should the Republicans splinter themselves?
They shouldn't, really.
Yeah, so it's kind of a deadlock. And I have a lot of problems with the Republican Party, but it's the lesser of two evils.
That's kind of what a lot of people, I think young people think of when they go to vote, is that it's the lesser of two evils. Whether Democrat or Republican, which one makes more sense for them, who benefits their family, whether instead of thinking of the whole country as a whole. But then there's this middle ground, this America that doesn't have a voice. People who are moderate or independents who don't feel that either party will give them a proper say in our government, so they choose not to vote at all. What would you say to those people who probably didn't vote in this last election or in any election to make them vote for to vote, really.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say it's a good question. In this last election, I mean, Donald Trump had 2 people that ran for the presidency as Democrats in his cabinet, Bobby Kennedy and Tulsi Gabbard. It's never happened before in American history. He is bringing people from the other party actively onto his team and into his team. So I think that's much more of a unity party. But my message would be, look, you have to weigh both of the options, vote your values, and I believe that the conservative movement is a much better place for people that believe in free speech, common sense, borders, and hands off our kids. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I just have one last thing to say. I know it's a little cheeky, but will you sign my hat?
Yes. Thank you. Yes.
Okay, this was a good one. I would really commend Charlie. He's doing so well educating the students and speaking to them constantly. He's doing so well. So I would applaud Charlie. Charlie Kirk is one guy I respect a lot. I respect a lot. I love watching his videos. They are very insightful, always eye-opening, and he speaks with so much intelligence. For the first guy, I didn't really see that coming. I was thinking it's going to be chaotic, filled with trolling and all of that, but I love how mature and how straight to the point the whole engagement was. Anyways, guys, what do you think about this video? Please leave your thoughts in the comment section. Subscribe, like, share, turn on your bell icon for more Charlie Kirk videos. Bye for now.